Hi, everyone. Bill Wrenchler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. It's Wednesday. That means it's Crime Stoppers Day, and we're lucky enough to have LPD's Jared Minary in the building today. We have a lot of things to talk about. Not necessarily cases, but a lot of things to talk about.
Yes.
How have you been?
Doing good. Nice sunny day outside.
It is.
A little warm, but I'm good with that.
It's getting to be... I think this is what they would classify as the dog days of summer.
I don't know why that term is the thing.
I don't know either, but the next week is going to be... Because, I mean, this July, putting on my weather hat for just a second, it's been relatively cool.
It has been. Went to the lake, was it last Saturday or whatever, and it was way cooler than it should have been for a lake day.
Especially for July, right?
Yeah.
So,
I was a little disappointed. I almost called you on the radio and said, come on, let's have a better day today.
I need some of the heat. I need the heat. All right, so jumping in, we have, again, if you're new to the program, if we're talking about cases on here, they're generally cases that, like, hey, we just need a few new leads, we need a few tips. We've kind of maybe hit a little bit of a roadblock.
Right. So first one we're looking at, obviously, suspicious person. This is basically in the area of 40th and Sumner Street. We had some neighbors. They call in. They say, hey, we're having a garage sale. We saw something kind of suspicious. Mm-hmm. We know that the people that live at the house across the street aren't home right now. And this truck pulled up down the street, kind of sat there for a little while. Then it pulled up to the neighbor's house. And then they saw a white male that kind of jumped the privacy fence, which obviously that's kind of like that's a weird thing.
Yeah, that's not something you should be doing.
So he runs out, he gets into this black pickup truck that they got an excellent photo of, and they sit there for a little while, and then they just kind of drive off. So obviously it's a suspicious person. We're trying to figure out what they were doing, why they were there. Obviously it could easily be a trespassing situation. So really just a lot of questions, and the homeowner doesn't have any idea who these people could have been. They did have somebody staying at the house while they were gone, and again, that person has no idea who these people are. So very odd. And if they're up to something in that neighborhood, we'd kind of like to know if it's, it could be related to other cases, and maybe somebody could piece that together for us as well.
And so this is just a great example of just having super awesome neighbors.
Yeah.
Looking out for your house, letting them know that you're out of town. Probably a good practice if you know you're friendly with your neighbors to do something like that.
Absolutely. This is the definition of neighborhood watch. This is watching out for your neighbors, getting good evidence of something that seems a little suspicious in case it is. They may have gone over and they said, oh yeah, that's my buddy. They're staying at my house that week. It would have been nothing. But obviously in this case, nobody knows why they're there. So we have a good question about why they could have been in that area.
And so this is one of those scenarios. Again, the picture we have is a great picture of the truck. Hard to make out the individual inside the vehicle, but again, the neighbor is reporting that a white male did jump the fence.
Yep, and we know that there was a black male that was driving the pickup.
Okay.
So we're hoping that maybe just that alone with that pickup truck definition, somebody can remember, yeah, I know this guy that drives that pickup truck, and maybe they can give us a tip on that.
And this is definitely something as well. It's like, hey, you should always be kind of at least looking for suspicious vehicles that maybe don't belong in your neighborhood. And this is one of those cases where it's like, hey, maybe if you see a black truck in your neighborhood, kind of could be related to this case.
Yep, that's a good possibility. They could be up to something in other neighborhoods, so it's not a bad idea to at least look out for this. If you have seen something suspicious in your area and you see a black truck that matches this, you could easily give us a call and just say, hey, I had a pickup truck matching that description from this previous case you guys talked about on the news, and we'll definitely go look into it.
And so, Jared, if someone was interested in, say, reaching out to you because they saw a suspicious black truck, and they also saw this segment, what would be the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, obviously, you can call the police department at any time. You call our non-emergency number of 441-6000, and that you're going to speak with our dispatch. They can direct you to the officer on this case or another officer. With that, you won't be anonymous. You will be part of the case information that we have. So if you are worried about it for any reason or you want to get a reward, the only way to get those things is to go through Crime Stoppers. If you want to do that, there's a couple of different ways you can get a hold of Crime Stoppers. That is that number, 402-475-3600. Of course, you can always go on Lincoln-Crimestoppers.com. You can see the cases that we're posting on there daily. That includes the cases we're talking about today and many others. And then, of course, we also have that P3 tip app that you can put on your phone, and that gives you a lot more accessibility to update your tips, maybe get some follow-up from us. We might ask you questions on that application. It's been a great thing for us for communication with tipsters.
And I always like going on crimestoppers.com because I don't know if it's you, Jared, or if it's someone else in the department. They come up with some great titles
I would like to take credit for it. Some of them are mine, but for the most part right now, there's a couple of other fantastic people that are making some posts.
And so if you found this one on LincolnCrimeStoppers.com, it is titled Sus Truck. And this truck is being a little sus right
yes,
now. So,
I think it qualifies.
Yeah. All right, case number 2, which, again, you'll find on LincolnCrimeStoppers.com. And I should also say, first, it was just a couple days ago, on the 20th, that this truck was, that report was made. So just a few days ago.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that was on July 20th.
Okay, so just in the last week. Also, again, just in the last week, I titled this when I was making my buttons, Prowler. Prowler is, can you kind of walk us through what this individual here is doing?
Well, it looks like he's prowling.
Yes.
So I guess that's why you call it Prowler.
Yes.
So basically what he's doing, he's kind of walking through somebody's yard. Obviously, the surveillance camera catches a great video of this person. I kind of like this just from my own personal standpoint. I love this camera that can actually follow them as they're walking around. Gets a nice close-up of him here and there. Obviously not the absolute best quality, but definitely gives us a good idea of, say, his build, how he walks. And sometimes we get tips on people. They say, hey, that just looks like so-and-so because they walk the same. Obviously, the clothes may stand out for someone, so we're hoping somebody can identify him. Basically, what he does, as you can kind of see in this video, he's walking around their house. He's probably going around this neighborhood. He walks up to 2 of the cars in the driveways, trying the doors on the vehicles there. So it's quite possibly an attempt at a larceny from auto. That's more than likely what's happening here. But obviously, it could be a trespassing issue as well. We don't know if there's any other cases of people getting their cars broken into in this area at this time. So maybe if somebody else had something in that area of 29th and Merrill, that's basically like 29th Street between Fair and Layton. And if you're not familiar with those two, that's just south of the train tracks off of Cornhusker. And so if you had anything in that area, maybe you saw this guy, maybe you saw a vehicle that he was using at some point, definitely give us a tip because maybe we can link that back up to him.
And again, that's also something too you have talked about in the past when talking about security cameras. A lot of times people will just have it pointed at the front door or something like that, and you may get someone coming in, but you're not getting their face, and you're not maybe getting some of those critical details.
Yes.
This is a good example of, hey, this is a camera that's not only catching someone, but it's getting some of those critical details.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice because it is following them. I know there are some of them out there that will actually track a suspect as they're walking around, or what, not even a suspect, just you while you're mowing your lawn. Yeah. But they're nice cameras. A lot of times they can get a little bit closer because they do pan and tilt. So if you're looking at a different surveillance system, I always say you're looking at a who camera and a what camera. This is kind of a combination of the two. Basically, a who camera is who did it, and a what camera is going to tell you what they did. And really, a lot of times when you have a what camera and that's all you have, it's harder for us to solve that case because we don't have a clear image of their face. So always think about a good point of an access where they're either going to be coming onto your property or leaving, say, doors, windows, anything like that, where you could cover that area. That'd be a good place to put a who camera, as I say.
I have a who camera and a what camera on my back deck, and the who is the neighborhood fox.
I kind of feel like we're in like a Dr. Seuss episode.
My dog's rawhide bones off the deck.
That's a smart fox.
That is a smart fox. It really, it upsets the dogs, but it also upsets my oldest Liam, who every day he says, "Dad, did you check the camera? Did the fox come last night?" So,
I have one on my camera too. So just a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
The who's it's, the what's it's, and the fox is stealing bones. Here we go. That's the new Dr. Seuss album.
So you mentioned it, but this would potentially be a larceny by auto.
It's an attempted one. It's probably going to be at this point maybe a trespass. But you never know once we get into this investigation. Like we've talked about before, a lot of times something like this that's small can lead into something bigger. For example, maybe he did break into some other cars in the area on that night, and we can just link it back to him, and that might help us solve more than one case. So.
Okay. And so, again, great video here. Again, you can see that guy, again, just kind of walking around, sus activity again, going back to the truck. And again, if you know something, again, we already mentioned it, but again, these are the best ways to get in contact. You could ask for Jared specifically. I don't know if you're going to be able to get him.
No. Nobody wants to talk to me.
But Lincoln Police, 402-441-6000. But again, like you mentioned earlier, Jared, you're not going to remain anonymous if that's the route that you do go. To be anonymous, to qualify for the Crime Stoppers reward, you have to go through Crime Stoppers, whether that's the 402-475-3600, leaving a tip online, or using that P3 app as well.
Absolutely.
So lots of good information there. You recognize either the truck again, or that individual. Again, these have both happened just in the last few days. Again, 40th and Sumner neighborhood for the truck.
Yep.
29th and Merrill, which, according to your directions, is just south of the train tracks near Cornhusker.
Yes.
That area. So if you know anything, let us know. Jared, that gets us to what I think probably going to be the most important part of our segment.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be Zoo Done It. For a long time now, we've been talking about this. And we keep saying, hey, this is coming up, a month or two, several weeks. Now, it's next week.
Next Friday, yes.
The time is almost here.
And this is the chance to see if you are actually really good at investigating a crime, because we're going to test you on this one. It's a great event. Basically, this is a fundraiser just for Lincoln Crime Stoppers, and this is how we help support this program for our local community. So if you want to do something good for your community, feel free, buy tickets, come check out this event. Even if you're not good at solving a crime, we're still going to have a real fun night. If you think you're one of those super sleuths that likes listening to the podcasts and solving that crime, here's a chance to test your mettle. What you're going to do is basically you're going to go to the zoo. A crime is going to occur while you're there, and you are going to be sworn in, and you will be investigating this crime. The cool thing is we have...
oh, that's what that picture is. Everyone's getting sworn in.
They're all being sworn in right there.
I didn't know what that... I thought it was just the gathering and everyone was cheering or raising their... They're getting sworn in.
They're
that's
being
cool.
sworn in. There are investigators for the evening, so you can be sworn in for an evening. You don't get to walk away with that swearing in, just for that hour and a half you're investigating. But the cool thing is we actually have some of our local crime scene techs and some experts in the forensic field. They're going to be out there with different stations to explain a piece of the investigation you're looking at, and maybe it will give you a clue or a tip or a hint on how that's going to work. There are going to be some Crime Stopper tips that come in while you're there that you'll be given. You're going to have food by Parthenon, Valentino's, The Venue, Chick-fil-A, and Colby Ridge will be there, so you'll be eating while you're walking around the zoo. And we do have bars there, so you can have alcoholic, non-alcoholic drinks while you're walking around. Because if you're a good investigator, you definitely got to have a full tummy. So lots of food.
But we did last week when we talked. We said maybe hold the adult beverages till the very end after you think you've pieced it together.
Yeah, you might need those brain cells.
Yeah. You need every available resource while you're trying to solve.
They're not going to be the easiest cases usually, so we like to challenge you a little bit. We don't want you to solve it too easy. We want you to work with your friends. It's one reason that we have a $75 ticket if you're coming on your own, but we encourage people to come with multiples. So if you're coming with multiples, it's a $70 ticket. And hopefully then you'll have some friends that all of you can work together like a good investigative team to come up with a good idea who that suspect is.
And included in that ticket is the drinks and the food.
All of that's included.
So, I mean, if you want to go and you just want to eat a whole bunch of pizza and a whole bunch of Chick-fil-A, go for it.
Check out the animals at the zoo.
Take a great digestion walk around the zoo, and then top it off with an ice cold whatever. You can do that.
Absolutely.
And so remind me, at the very end then, if I remember last year, there was like 3 or 4 options, and people could basically place their tokens as to who or what they think happened.
At the end, you get a sheet of paper. We call it the arrest affidavit. So you're writing out who you think did it and why you think that person did it. Okay. So like in the real world, what we would do is we would take a warrant to a judge and say, this is why we believe this person needs to be arrested. That's kind of what you're doing. And then what we'll do is we'll put your sheet for each suspect in one of the 4 bins for the suspects. And then at the end of the night, we're going to draw a name from the winning bin with the right suspect for a prize. Nice. And then we'll probably dump everybody's names into a bin, and we'll do another couple drawings, maybe for a ride along with the police officers or something like that. So it should be a really good time.
That will be really good. Is there perhaps like a judge that you have to that's going to be there you have to take the affidavit to?
Actually thought about that. We aren't doing it this year, but maybe we'll do that in the future, because that was something that came up.
That would be a great thing for you. I'm picturing in my mind like something from the Muppets where you're wearing like a curly white-haired wig and you're the judge.
The big black robe and a white wig.
Yes. Okay, so again, if you haven't been able to tell, again, on here on the screen is the QR code to purchase those tickets. Again, last year's event sold out.
Yep.
This year we still have some tickets left.
Got a few.
We expanded.
Yep.
Because we sold out last year.
Yep. So we have a few tickets left just to get in there this year. So make sure you're getting your tickets hopefully by Friday. We're going to kind of start limiting things down after we get past Friday, because we still have to plan how many people we're going to have there and make all the accommodations. So if you're buying tickets, you really only have a couple more days to really get that in.
Okay. All right. Well then, Jared, anything else, whether it's the cases we talked about, Zoo Done It, Crime Stoppers in general, you want to make sure you get slid in?
No, I think we did really good today.
I think
as usual.
We do an okay job. We do an okay job. So, and again, there was no fly this time. A couple weeks ago, we had a fly that tried to be the star of the
Dive
show.
bomb, yeah.
It did. Captain Baker. Poor Captain Baker. All right. Well, Jared, thanks as always. Appreciate your time coming in. Appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching again. I'm going to throw it up one more time just so everyone can get it. If you want those Zoo Done It tickets, you can scan that QR code right there, and that will give you all the information you need to know. You can also go to LincolnCrimeStoppers.com, a ton of different places where you can go to get that ticket information. So, appreciate everyone for tuning in and for watching. As always, keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all of your latest news, weather, sports. Until next time, folks, we'll see you later.